Conrad Layn here. I'm here at the Rosa Parks Museum. Absolutely phenomenal, great experience. This is the Rosa Parks bus tour. We're gonna go back in time, go through a bit of segregation and some civil rights and Jim Crow and quite a bit. Let me give you a quick tour. Cleveland Avenue. I'm gonna leave the links below. Definitely recommend this experience. Pretty cool. Here's our bus operator. This will take us down memory lane of Troy University, Library Museum, Cleveland Avenue Time Machine, Freedom Rides, Harriet Tubman, Free the Slaves, Little Rock High School, March on Washington. So, this is the back of the bus. Rosa Parks did a lot to really bring that all of us are human. I'm gonna sit in the front out of respect for Miss Rosa Parks. I'm sitting in the front. No. Now let's enjoy the ride.
Welcome to our place, a very special time machine. We are about to take you on a journey into the past that will let you see how African Americans were treated in a segregated America. Our trip will be accompanied by sounds and sights that might make you uncomfortable, but rest assured, our driver, Mr. Rivets, will conduct us through time safely and quickly. Now please sit back and pay close attention. Do not lean against the windows or try to exit the bus. You may get stuck in another time period, and we will have a hard time finding you. To get started, we will take a time jump from today to December 1st, 1955.
Walking on Lane Travels, people.
Hello there. I'm on my way to do some Christmas shopping here in Montgomery. But first, let me share with you some history about our people and why it's so important for you to remember who we are and what we have endured in the last 150 years. To do this, I will ask your driver to speed you back in time to the year 1838 in Cincinnati, Ohio. Mr. Rivers, please take us back.
Well, I'm going back in time, people. Hopefully I can make it back and tell you how it is. Let's go, let's get this.
Here we are in Cincinnati, Ohio, in 1838. In this city, a little boy is making his living on the street, singing and dancing for pennies. His song is called Jump Jim Crow.
My name's Jim Crow.
A stage entertainer from up north, Mr. Tom Rice, watches the youngster with fascination. Mr. Rice gets an idea. Tom Daddy Rice would become famous. He would perform that little boy's song in cities all over the north and the south. And audiences thought his act was very, very funny. Tom Rice and many others who would follow portrayed Black Americans as being foolish and inferior people and created the desirability of segregation in the minds of many Southerners, as well as Northerners. The words Jim Crow came to mean black people, and also the effort to keep blacks separate and segregated from the world of white people. Laws were written that said exactly what black people could and could not do. In the South, slavery and segregation were legal. In the North, slavery wasn't legal, but there was still segregation. Now, let me show you how the government of the United States felt about black men and black women. Never mind that our Constitution said that all people were created equal. Chief Justice Roger B. Terry and most of the Supreme Court thought otherwise. Mr. Rivets, forward please to the year 1857 and St. Louis, Missouri. Let us meet Mr. Dred Scott and his family, all of whom are slaves. Dred and Harriet have been trying to win their family's freedom from slavery through the courts for 11 years now. They believe they're entitled to that freedom because their owner had at one time taken them to live in free territory in the North. A St. Louis court supported their claim, but that decision was overruled and their case reached the Supreme Court of the United States. Today, they have received news that has crushed their hope for freedom. The Supreme Court has ruled that Dred Scott and his family and all slaves are the property of their owners, cannot be considered United States citizens, and can have no claim to freedom.
11 years, Papa. We've been told we'd be slaves, then we'd be free, then we'd be slaves again. And Mr. Thomas said we've never been free. Yeah, and he said we'd be subordinate and inferior human beings. Then we're born to be slaves and nothing else. No more rights to the job.
Listen, Elijah, Justice claims to be a slave owner. He never learned to talk to us right. Don't mean he's right.
He's right enough to send us off to some old master who whoop us and send us to the field of business cop.
Hush, Lizzie. Ain't nobody selling us. This owned by Miss Irene. And she ain't selling us to nobody.
We still own, just like the furniture, just like this here table.
But maybe she free us. She's married to Master Chapin, who needs an abolitionist and don't want no slaves.
We hope you're right. We can hope.
Y'all go on hook, and I'm just gonna make my way home.
Listen!
Because of his efforts to gain freedom, Dred Scott became the most famous slave in America. The Dred Scott decision was a much disputed ruling and caused a stir across America. Northerners saw the decision as a way for slavery to spread into free states. Southerners saw the decision as reinforcing the idea of slavery, that African Americans were little more than property and didn't have rights as human beings. The controversy led almost directly to the Civil War. But there are other stories we should know as well. Let's go to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, not long before the Civil War began. It is estimated that 75,000 slaves escaped to the free northern states and to Canada in the years before the Civil War. Harriet Tubman and Henry Brown were two of them with different but equally astonishing stories. While they never actually met, had they done so, their conversation might have sounded like this.
And that's how I've done it, Miss Tubman. And there will I be when I ship myself out of all the union to freedom of law.
That box was much too small to hold you.
Old man did. As slick as a hog in a water. And nothing but a flask of water to keep me. Railroad agents down there can't read. Spend most of my trip upside down on my ass.
We each she goes north in her own way, Mr. Brown.
Box Brown, they calls me now.
Mr. Box Brown.
Many times you been knocked them back and never got caught. You be lucky, Miss Harriet.
Not luck, just a case of blending in.
Blending in?
I be small and I dress small. Look like a little slave child out shopping for master.
Say, you get a pistol in that?
I do. Needs we got using on folks changing their minds. Had a passenger threaten a Canada say he got to go back. I said, you be free or die. Soon enough, he decided he ready to be free. First time I come knock. I looked at my hands. Now I was free to see if I was the same person. And there was such glory over everything. The sun came up like gold through the trees and over the fields. And I felt like I was in heaven. Glory, glory be.
Yes, indeed, Miss Tubman. Yes, indeed. Move along now, Mr. Rivets. We have more stops to make. But before we go, let me remind you that Harriet Tubman blended in even better during the Civil War. She served as a spy for the Union armies, reporting Confederate troop movements to Northern commanders. Now, for those of you who are a bit timid, make yourself brave, because we've got a Civil War to get through. It was a terrible time for Northerners and Southerners alike. Hundreds of thousands died or were horribly injured on both sides. The North didn't set out to free the slaves. It was fighting to preserve the Union. President Lincoln did proclaim an end to slavery in 1863, but only in the slave-holding Confederate states. It took Union victory to free all of the slaves. After the Union won the Civil War, federal laws and constitutional amendments were enacted that seemed to give us freedom and opportunity. We could get paid for our work, we could go to school, we could vote, we could even get elected to Congress. But in the South, the same old forces were trying to keep us back, keep us down, keep us separate through intimidation, violence, and terror. But listen to this.
No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States.
That was part of the 14th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. It means that denying us our rights as citizens is illegal. It is clear to me that even after the Civil War and the freeing of all the slaves, people in the South didn't want to listen. Remember the name Jim Crow? Well, Jim Crow laws have been passed. They keep us from voting, going to their schools, and getting certain jobs. They also keep us out of public parks, stores, hospitals, hotels, and restaurants. In some places, we can't walk on their side of the street without permission. We have to sit in separate cars on trains, and the seats that are assigned to us are old and uncomfortable. We know these Jim Crow laws are wrong and unconstitutional, and we aren't going to give up so easily. We have rights, and we are willing to fight for them in the courts. Mr. Rick, take us to New Orleans, Louisiana, to the year 1892. African-American traveler named Homer Plessy tested his civil rights by riding in a whites-only railroad. Because he looked white, he was selected by the Louisiana Civil Rights Organization to buy a first-class ticket on a train. He bought the ticket, sat in the first-class whites-only car. Then the train's conductor was told that Plessy was a Negro. You can imagine what happened next.
We know you be a color. If by color you mean Negro, then yes, I am somewhat a Negro. You see, my grandmother was of African descent, but all of my other ancestors were European. Law says one drop of color blood, you be a color through and through. You belong back there with the rest of them colors.
Curious, isn't it? That by your reasoning I should be white, as I have more than a drop of white blood in my veins, but never mind. I'm an American citizen, and I have properly bought a first-class ticket, and therefore I'm entitled to stay in this coach. I'd rather go to jail than to leave this coach.
That is where you'll be going. What exactly what is you trying to do?
You see, because I look white, I bought a first-class ticket and took my seat in this first-class car.
Didn't do you much good, did it?
It's a challenge to the Jim Crow law that says colored folks cannot ride with whites.
I think that law is just fine. Pretty soon you people just get up in it, sit any way you like, talk with anyone you please.
But what is that law based upon? Color? I look just as white as you. Sir, the 14th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States clearly states that there be no race distinction, and that all of us, including myself and this man here, are but one and the same. What we do hope is that my removal from this train becomes a test case in the federal courts.
We'll just see about that, won't we? We'll just see.
Indeed, we will, Mr. Detective. I'm certain we will.
But when the supporters of Homer Plessy brought the case of Plessy versus Ferguson to the Supreme Court, all of the justices, except John Marshall Harlan, upheld the laws of segregation. That meant that separate but equal was the law of the land. That decision was a big blow for all of us. It meant segregation was the rule for years and years to come. But we all know it shouldn't be that way. Now, we have to move on. Mr. Ricketts, fast forward, please. Well, here we are, in 1955, right back home in Montgomery, capital of the state of Alabama. We've traveled together through many time periods. And how much has changed? Not enough, I'm afraid. The bus I'm waiting for still has seats reserved for whites only, and we folks sit where we can, if indeed we can sit at all. I can't have lunch at most of the restaurants downtown, but I can shop at the stores. And this is the year, 1955. A full 90 years after the end of the Civil War, and 93 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. We are about to board our bus. Something will happen aboard this bus this evening that will change America. Please excuse me. I hear our bus coming now. So goodbye, and remember, we are a strong people. And if we keep fighting for our rights, things will change. They must. Indeed, they must.
To learn what happened on that Cleveland Avenue bus, please walk into the museum next door. If you have already visited the Rosa Parks Museum and have witnessed her challenge to bus segregation, please do come back again soon and bring your family and friends. As you are leaving our time machine, be careful and remember to take all your personal belongings with you as you leave and watch your step. Thanks for traveling through time with aboard the Cleveland Avenue time machine.
That's it. Welcome to Layn Travels, people, here in Montgomery, Alabama. Traveling here. Happy Black History Month and happy African American History Month. And we're on Cleveland Avenue. And welcome to the time traveling machine that took us through history of what Rosa Parks did for all of us. Love you guys. Like, subscribe, share. Here's Mr. Rigby, the bus driver. Thank you. Thank you so much. And anyways, let's subscribe, share. Carlene out.